When you hear the term Big Three, you probably think of these juggernauts. Series that have existed before you, topped every record, and fundamentally shaped how anime is perceived worldwide.
Back in my day, the Big Three used to mean something.
Come on, Grandpa, we'll get you your minutes, come on, let's go.
I also had to walk both ways uphill to school.
But nowadays, the term Big Three gets tossed around like confetti. We've got the new gen Big Three, the Dark Three, the Isekai Big Three, and honestly, it's getting a little ridiculous. Sure, the general theme stays consistent. It's usually the best show of the era or like standout titles of a specific genre. But no matter how you slice it up, the lineup is always up for debate. There's still people who fight tooth and nail because Dragon Ball isn't a part of the main Big Three.
Boy, if you don't...
So today, instead of trying to end some of these debates, I'm going to be adding a little bit more fuel to the fire and introducing a brand new Big Three. A trio of anime that define a very special corner of storytelling. The Big Three of supernatural rom-coms. Now these aren't just rom-coms with a sprinkle of supernatural flavor. Oh no. Oh no. These are shows that shaped an entire era of anime fans, blending humor, romance, and a touch of the supernatural into unforgettable experiences. Now you might think the genre is not very competitive, but oh boy, let me tell you.
Psst, hey kid, come here. Check this out.
Huh? What?
We got your name. Inuyasha, fruit basket, helping lead, kid. We got it all. Anything you want, kid. We got it for you, kid. Just come on and check it out, kid.
When you hear supernatural romantic comedy, it might sound like a pretty niche genre, but you'd be surprised how many anime actually fit under this umbrella. In fact, some of the best anime out there, and a lot of people's personal favorites, fall squarely into this category. Supernatural anime can literally be about anything. Ghost? Check. Time travel? Absolutely. Parallel worlds? You bet. If it blends reality-defying physics or introduces some mysterious cosmic force into an otherwise normal world, chances are it's got that supernatural flair. But here's where things get interesting. When you combine those elements with romance and comedy, something special happens. The supernatural backdrop becomes more than just a gimmick, it becomes a catalyst for connection, vulnerability, and emotional storytelling. These shows use their fantastical settings not just to entertain, but to explore love, loss, and what it means to truly connect with someone, even if that connection transcends time, space, or reality itself. So yeah, while supernatural rom-coms might seem like a niche genre, once you start digging into it, you realize it's everywhere. And today we're going to be looking at 3 shows that absolutely nailed this formula. And my audition for the Big Three: Clannad, Angel Beats, and the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Why are these the Big Three? What makes them unique and stand above other shows in their genre? And am I going to cry watching these? To answer your question, dear viewer, yes, and absolutely yes. Hard. Okay, I know I really only answered 2 of those, so let's break it down. Why are these the Big Three of supernatural rom-coms? What makes them unique and what set them apart from every other show in their genre? Well, for starters, they all belong to a specific era. These shows came out in the mid to late 2000s. A time when anime was still riding the stylistic wave left behind by the 90s. Think about it, the big eyes, the sharp jawlines, the same 4 dub actors. No, but like seriously though, why was it always the same 4 dub actors? And despite carrying the 90s vibe, these shows weren't just copying what came before them. The animation style evolved, character designs became cleaner, color palettes became softer, and there was a notable shift towards making every frame feel warmer and more emotionally resonant. It's like they took the expressive charm of the 90s, ran it through a modern filter, and said, yeah, this is the vibe now. But it wasn't just about how they looked, it was about what they represented. The 2000s gave us a golden age of emotionally driven, character-focused anime. Shows like Clannad, Angel Beats, and the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya didn't just tell love stories, they told stories about people. Broken people, lost people, people trying to find meaning in their lives amidst supernatural chaos. And they did it with style. These shows all carry a distinct vibe that's hard to describe, but super easy to feel. Watching them feels like stepping into a time capsule, a space where comedy, romance, and existential dread all sit at the same lunch table, and they somehow just make it work. They capture something specific about anime in the 2000s, a moment in time where the industry was evolving, experimenting, and creating stories that could make you laugh, cry, and then stare blankly at your ceiling, wondering what you're doing with your life. And trust me, you will be staring at your ceiling, because yes, if you watch these shows, you are going to cry.
I better not see no goddamn tears, motherfucker. I'm my fucking boy, you little bitch.
But hey, that's just the price of admission for experiencing 3 of the most beautifully crafted supernatural rom-com anime ever to grace our screens. So let's break them down one by one and see why Clannad, Angel Beats, and the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya deserve a spot in the Big Three. Starting off strong with Clannad. If Clannad was just another high school romance anime, it wouldn't have left the emotional crater it did in the hearts of anime fans. What sets Clannad apart, what makes it truly unique, is that it doesn't stop where most romance stories end. It doesn't fade to black after a confession under a cherry blossom or a first kiss on a rooftop. Clannad dares to ask a question that so many other romance stories shy away from. What happens after I say I love you? At its core, Clannad is a story about growth. Not just the growth of love, but the growth of individuals because of love. Tomoya starts as a cynical, aimless high school senior, and by the end of the story, he's transformed into a man who carries the weight of love, loss, and responsibility on his shoulders. But what makes this transformation so impactful is that we see every step of his journey. When we meet Tomoya, he's disillusioned with life. He drifts through his final years of high school, carrying resentment toward his father and viewing the world through a lens of bitterness. Nagisa, on the other hand, is fragile, but hopeful. A girl held back by illnesses, yet driven by dreams. Their meeting doesn't immediately change Tomoya, nor does it magically solve their problems. But slowly, through small moments of kindness, vulnerability, and shared struggles, they begin to change each other. Tomoya learns to care about someone other than himself. Nagisa finds the courage to pursue her passions. They lean on each other, stumble together, and grow together. And here's where Clannad sets itself apart. It doesn't just tell us they love each other, it shows us. We see their bond deepening through mundane moments, quiet conversations, and sacrifices, both big and small. Most romance anime end with graduation. The characters confess their love, the credits roll, and we're left to assume everything worked out perfectly. But Clannad refused to stop there. The story continues past high school, showing us Tomoya and Nagisa as adults, navigating the real world. They face financial struggles, health crises, and the overwhelming reality of building a life together. Their love isn't painted as some perfect fairy tale. It's messy, it's exhausting, and sometimes it feels impossible. But that's what makes it real. We see Tomoya take on the role of a husband. We see Nagisa confront the challenges of adulthood with unwavering determination despite her fragile health. And when tragedy strikes, we see Tomoya fall apart. We see him grieve. We see him become a shell of his former self. And yet, we also see him rebuild. His love for his daughter becomes the spark that pulls him out of grief. In raising her, Tomoya finds redemption, not just as a father, but as a son. He breaks the cycle of resentment he held toward his own father and becomes the man he wishes he had growing up. This is what set Clannad apart from nearly every other romance anime. It doesn't shy away from the aftermath. It doesn't reduce love to a fleeting high school fantasy. It shows us that love isn't just about good moments. It's about the hard ones too. So if Clannad is about love as growth, then Angel Beats is about love as acceptance. Acceptance of our regrets, our losses, and most importantly, acceptance of letting go. At first glance, Angel Beats feels chaotic. Like someone smashed an action anime, a high school comedy, and a deeply emotional drama into one show. You've got gunfights in school hallways, a rock band playing in the background, and characters who seem more like caricatures at first. But if you look past the explosive chaos, you'll find a deeply moving story about closure, gratitude, and the fleeting connections we make with others. The premise of Angel Beats is deceptively simple. The characters are stuck in a high school purgatory, an afterlife for souls who died unfulfilled, carrying regrets of unresolved pain from their time in the living world. Our protagonist, Otonashi, arrives in this strange afterlife with no memories of who he was or how he died. It's here that he meets Clannad, a mysterious and seemingly emotionless girl who becomes central to his story. But Angel Beats isn't about grand romantic gestures or traditional love stories. The love in Angel Beats is deeply rooted in connection. Otonashi and Clannad's bond isn't rushed or flashy. It's quiet, subtle, and profoundly human. It's not just about two characters finding comfort in each other. It's about two souls finding peace in the brief time they have together. The relationships in Angel Beats, whether they're romantic or platonic, are all built on themes of acceptance. Every character is carrying something heavy, a regret, a missed opportunity, or a deep wound from their past life. Yuri leads the rebellion against the afterlife system because she's driven by anger and guilt over her tragic past. Hinata and Yu's relationship, short as it is, carries an emotional weight that goes beyond surface-level romance. Hinata doesn't just express love for Yu, he accepts her, every flaw, every regret, and every limitation. But the most important relationship, the one that carries the soul of Angel Beats, is the one between Otonashi and Clannad. Their connection is quiet and fragile. Clannad isn't the kind of character who wears her emotions on her sleeve, but in those fleeting moments of vulnerability, when the truth about her regrets and her purpose in the afterlife is revealed, their love hits like a freight train. And here's the thing. Angel Beats isn't about fixing regret. It's not about going back in time and undoing the pain. It's about accepting that some things can't be changed and finding peace despite that. One of the most beautiful and devastating aspects of Angel Beats is that it understands love isn't about holding on. Sometimes the purest act of love is letting go. When the truth about Kannade's regret is finally revealed, that she carries the gratitude in her heart for Otonashi because his heart saved her life, it reframes everything. Their love isn't about happily ever after, it's about finding peace in the time they did have together. Otonashi's final goodbye to Kannade isn't just a romantic farewell, it's an act of acceptance. It's him choosing to let her go so that she can move on, even if it means he has to face the silence of being left behind. It's raw, it's heartbreaking, and it's real. Angel Beats shows us that sometimes love isn't about what you get to keep, it's about being grateful for what you were given, no matter how brief it was. So, what makes Angel Beats unique? It's the way it blends absurd comedy with heart-wrenching emotional weight. One moment you're laughing at the ridiculous gunfight over cafeteria bread, and the next you're ugly crying because a character finally found peace after disappearing into the afterlife. But more than that, Angel Beats stands out because it understands that love isn't always about holding on to someone's hand. Sometimes it's about letting it go. It's about finding gratitude in the moments you did have together, even if they weren't enough. It's about accepting the unfairness of life and choosing to love anyway. If Clannad is about love as growth and Angel Beats is about love as acceptance, then the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya is about love as connection amidst chaos. At its core, Haruhi is a story that asks, how do you build meaningful connections in a world that feels completely unpredictable? And it answers that question with its wild, surreal, and often absurd narrative, all centered around the magnetic, chaotic force of Haruhi herself. The story follows Kion, your average cynical high schooler who just wants a normal life. But then he meets Haruhi, a girl whose boredom with the ordinary leads her to seek out aliens, time travelers, and espers. Unbeknownst to her, Haruhi is the extraordinary. She has the power to reshape reality itself, bending the fabric of the universe to fit her whims. But here's the catch. Haruhi doesn't realize she has the power. To her, she's just an eccentric teenager looking for excitement. And that's where Kion comes in. Kion doesn't need to stay by Haruhi's side. Her antics actually drive him crazy. She's selfish, chaotic, and completely unaware of how much trouble she causes. And yet Kion chooses to stay. Not because he's forced to, but because he feels a connection to her that he can't ignore. What makes Haruhi unique as a romantic comedy is that the romance is never explicit. You won't find a dramatic confession or a heartfelt speech here. Instead, love exists in the subtext. It's the way Kion grounds Haruhi's wild energy with his sarcasm and calm demeanor. It's the way Haruhi unknowingly reshapes reality to keep Kion close to her. And it's in those rare, quiet moments, like when they stare at the stars together or share an unspoken understanding, that you realize how deeply they rely on each other. Haruhi, for all her chaos, needs Kion. He's the anchor that keeps her grounded, the person who listens to her rants, humors her whims, and keeps her from spiraling out of control. And Kion? He needs Haruhi just as much, even if he won't admit it. She drags him out of his cynical comfort zone, forcing him to engage with the world in ways he never thought possible. Their relationship isn't traditional, but it's undeniable. So why does Haruhi deserve a spot in the big three? Well, it's because it redefines what a romantic comedy can be. It's not about holding hands under a cherry blossom or love confessions on our school rooftop. It's about the connections we build in the chaos of life, the unspoken bonds that keep us tethered when the world feels unpredictable. It's about how love isn't always neat or traditional. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's frustrating, but it's always worth it. And at its heart, the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya is a story about love as connection. It's about finding someone who challenges you, frustrates you, and pulls you out of your comfort zone. It's about staying by someone's side even when they drive you crazy because you can't imagine life without them. Haruhi and Kion's relationship isn't perfect, it's not traditional, but it's real. All of these shows, they don't just tell stories. They tell stories about people. They use their supernatural elements not as gimmicks, but as tools to explore deeper emotional truths about love, loss, and connection. Clannad makes you grow, Angel Beats makes you accept, and Haruhi Suzumiya makes you connect. Together they represent the full spectrum of love. They show us laughs, made us cry, and most importantly, they made us feel. That's why Clannad, Angel Beats, and the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya aren't just great supernatural rom-coms. They're the big three. And honestly, they always will be.